And so I went to work, and I had a son and a wife, so I went to work for Texaco and did very well. And I mean, they just passed me by all the learning stuff, and they gave me a company car, and I was making great money, and I loved my job because I was dealing with airplanes and all. But the sad story is that there were 6 of us who were these regional sales engineers, and 4 of them were helicopter pilots in the National Guard in in Portland, Oregon, and they kept after me to transfer from the Air Force to the Army and go to Fort Rucker and become a helicopter pilot. So it was a lot of fun, and I'd already gotten, gone through basic primary pilot training, had a license. And I said, Ilse, not a problem. You'll have a great time, and we all go fly together on the weekends and all. So I wrote a letter to the Air Force, said I want to resign my commission, but I want to transfer to the Army. And the Army gave me saying, yeah, we'll accept him. And I've forgotten one of the branches. They didn't have air branches in the Army at that time. You were in the infantry, you were in the cavalry, you were in the artillery. I can't remember which one it was, but so I sent it in. 10 days later, maybe a week later, I got a telegram that said, report to Portland Air Force Base, to the Air Wing there, and take a flight physical. You're assigned to Williams Air Force Base in 3 weeks. Off went my career, and you know what? The first 2 years I was in the military, then I went and down there and finishing up, and that's another story for another day, but they said, you need another AFSC, Air Force Efficiency Code, and I said, what did you do as a fit? And I told them, you're going to be a PLL, Sent me to Texas to school. Thomas almost died while we were there. He got really ill, and we were in a beat-up motel, and he was really, really sick and came close to dying. But then, for some unexplainable reason, I got sent to Guam as a second lieutenant, as an assistant base fuels officer of a huge squadron. Had 125 airmen in it, and refueling airplanes, running the storage systems and a pipeline and all of that stuff. And that's great stories about that all. But I ended up doing that, and then my boss, who was named Dewey Coleman, he got transferred to Vietnam because his tour was up. And the replacement was a warrant officer, which does not outrank a lieutenant. And I was still a second lieutenant, and he'd been in the Air Force 20 years and was very upset that he had to work for a second lieutenant. But we finally got along, and I had a lot of great experiences with, refueling and looking after U-2s, or spy planes, SR-71 spy planes that were operating out of Guam. And I became the squadron commander for that 125 kids. And we'd fly some, but my main job was the petroleum part of it. But Dewey Coleman was a pilot, and he would take me as a co-pilot on C-54s occasionally. And